Welcome back to Health Huddle, everyone. Today, we're talking about mental health. In honor of May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I have Kelvin Cortez with me. And the first question that I want to ask you to get this started, could you describe your journey into the field of mental health and what motivated you to become a therapist and a life coach?
Well, hello. Thank you for having me back. I'm so happy to be here, Wellness Warrior. But to answer that question, what inspired me? God, that's a packed question. I don't even know. It'll take me days. But in the most simplest form, what inspired me to get myself involved in the world of mental health and life coaching in general is that I simply seen a need, I seen a deficit, and I wanted to fill that deficit and need, um, and use my personal experiences to really help the life of others. And so mental health is something that we don't see a lot in our community, but it's growing, so that's a good thing. But back whenever I decided to start, it was really a lot of deficits I seen within my own family. I was like, hey, how do I fix this? I wanted to, everything in me wanted to fix it, but I knew that my journey in school, I graduated from the University of South Alabama in psychology, and then I knew for a fact that I was called to people, and so that shifted my
Mhm.
perspective. And I was like, "Wow, I know my purpose is are people. So how do I get there?" And so the mental health journey was eye opening for me, and that journey has been an absolute and amazing experience. I actually worked with some of the best clients and some of the hardest ones, but how I knew that I was where my feet were supposed to be was it just feels right. It feels right to be in a space where we don't have representation and often as Black males, just as general population, we don't see the need of mental health. It's more so a stigma, and I'm trying
Mhm.
to a stigma in every way possible.
Well, thank you so much for coming today on this health huddle. And your story itself and just your journey into mental health speaks, and it just shows that you saw a problem and you want to fix it. And
Mm.
there's not many Black therapists out there, so thank you for that.
Absolutely. It's a deficit in
Mhm.
that too. We have a very low
Yes.
percentage of representation, even from mental health all the way up to the world of psychiatry. And so it's an absolute deficit. But here I am, here we are filling in the gaps.
hmm So, how does your training and experience as a life coach complement your work as a mental health therapist? And do you find these two roles often intersect in your practice?
They do. Before, I'll never forget, I was perhaps 15 years old and I was on the porch with just a family friend. And I remember she looked at me, she said, "You need to be a therapist." And she was like, "You're my life coach." Mind you, I'm 15 years old. I
hmm
still in high school. And she was like, "You always have this warm presence about yourself, but life coaching is an extremely different realm of mental health therapy because the two, although they sound similar, they have their differences as well, but they also meet back in the middle. Life coaching is more of a life coaching, it's more so of a let me, get into your life, let me fix some things. I can give a lot of advice there, but in mental health counseling, it's different. We're working on actual work. We're doing the groundwork. We're tilling the ground. Um, I would say for me, life coaching is just more of a liberal side of things. It doesn't have the ethics attached to it like mental health.
hmm
It keeps mental health keeps you, in your boundaries, with people. In life coaching, you can go through life with those people for their entire life, if they want that. Life coaching is liberating as well. It's very liberating to do. And then where they meet in the middle is the outcomes. Usually,
Okay.
oh, you always say, well, life coaching, this, that, and the fifth, but you also say mental health. But mental health usually come with a diagnosis. Life coaching doesn't. And not to say that even in mental health practices, you have to diagnose. That's not an absolute. But a lot of times you do have people who are looking for a diagnosis. And then sometimes you have people who are looking for life skills, well, how do I approach this? Or what are the barriers? And they meet in the middle with outcomes of success. So it's always a beautiful thing to hear both stories and both, entities meet in the middle with a success story, and that's what I look for. There's always a lot of problems going on in the world, problems going on with people, but in both entities, how do we find a solution? And that's where I believe they meet in the middle, solutions and success.
So, as an associate licensed clinical mental health therapist, what are some of the most common mental health challenges you encounter with individuals in Alabama?
In Alabama, yeah, it's an array. It's an
Hmm.
array. I think a lot of people, from what I've experienced, of course, the key ones, depression, anxiety, those are, I call them the cousins,
Yes.
You have depression and then you have anxiety creeping up, the anxiety monster, and you're like, well, why are you following me, anxiety? But those two are very prevalent, a lot of times, getting into the personality, realm, you experience a lot of personality disorders, it's very, mm, it's very skewed because you're like, well, what we don't know what a person really presents with. It's just really finding them out. But those depression, anxiety are very high in Alabama. Um, those are, I would say, those are the two prior, even 10 years ago. Those are more prevalent and prior here in Alabama. So depression and anxiety.
And I just want to preface that in no shape, form, or fashion are we talking bad on Alabama. It's just as Wellness Warrior is based off public health, it's just bringing awareness to individuals that live in Alabama, just bringing that awareness more to individuals, knowing that this is what he sees is the highest in Alabama. And I'm from Alabama as well. So just, I know firsthand how like depression and anxiety can come into play into someone's life and how it's swept under the rug. And it's just, we shouldn't sweep issues like that under the rug. We should seek help.
We should seek help. And that's why we have therapists. That's why we have
Hmm.
clinicians. Um, And just going back to stigma, it's so common to wake up and say, I'm just going to worry about this later. But I think in the last interview, I talked about how possibly we could have a physical pain or a physical change, and we immediately jump to it. Some of us don't, but in more of a neurotypical world, we'll look at it, we'll go to the hospital, we'll go to the doctor, we'll set that appointment. But it seems like in mental health, we usually suppress it, we repress it, and then we don't worry about it until it's almost too late. But I always, argue, I say it's never too late, wherever
Hmm.
road we are, whatever journey we're on, wherever it's at, mental health does not care,
That's
what
so true.
it doesn't care what month it is, it could be just at random. And I truly believe that. So it doesn't matter where you are in that journey of, fighting for your mental health. It's just let's get it there. Let's get it started, and stigma free. Stigma free.
All right, so May is Mental Health Awareness Month. What significance does this month hold for you professionally?
Well, aside from it being my birthday month, it's always a magnificent day. But
Hmm.
um, this month is a time, and I hate that it's just 1 month, but it's this month is a time to really, really, really focus in and hone in on mental health is real. Um, May is a month of reverence. It's a month of education. It's a month of people telling their stories, how they've really been fighting with mental health, and it gives them a safe space to be open. I've seen a lot of posts being shared about, people just disclosing their struggles with mental health. And that's very rich because that means something's working with the awareness month. People look
Hmm.
this month and they look forward to disclosing, oh, well, I've been suffering with depression for this so long, and this is what I've done, or anxiety, and this is just the month I want to reference it. And so May is that month of reconciliation, I think, with a lot of people. It's a month of freedom. It's a month of disclosure. You don't have to disclose it, but it's just, like I said, a safe space because you're able to say, this is me. This is how I'm conquering. This is how I'm overcoming. And I'm not defined by it. This is just who I am. And I'm showing up in the world as such. And May gives them that safe space. The safe space. So that's how it is professionally. I love going into the office and we have up these posters and we have all these. beautiful quotes and things like that, just honoring and referencing what May is.
Hmm. So, in your opinion, what are some of the most important messages or themes that should be emphasized during Mental Health Awareness Month?
Mental health is real. Mental health is something that everyone across the entire world have to dealing with. It may not be severe, it may not be super prevalent, but it's something that we all experience. And I want them to know that it's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay to get help. It is okay to get help. And it's better to get help than to keep it suppressed. And suppression leads to other clinical diagnoses. And it's just like a domino effect, right? It's a domino effect. And you have that option to get help. You have that option to say, hey, it's me. I'm full disclosure, this is what I'm going through. I want help. How can I find it? And that's just the message I want. Stigma free. If I could just go out through the world and just say, hey, stigma free, mental health is this everyone's gonna go through something. And that's totally okay. It's how do we conquer it? How do we get through it? Um, support, advocacy, things like that. And you have to self-advocate for yourself. No one's responsible for your mental health aside for you, you know?
Hmm. That's
And
true.
the key thing is we're writing our own story. I have this, I work in foster care too. So I always talk to my foster kids. I'm like, man, I can't wait to hear your story in a couple of years. In fact, I can't wait to hear your story tomorrow. And that gives them hope, It's like, oh, someone's listening to me. And truly, mental health is on the rise. We're coming out of that struggle of stigma, but it's still there, but we're coming out of it. I really do. I see it. We're coming out of it, but it's still there. So that means we still have work to do. And still people that have to come to the forefront because as you can see, mental health is playing a role in so many different aspects in the world. So
And I want to touch on, you said, um, when you talked about suppression, I've always heard the saying like suppression leads to depression and better out than in. Like once you hold something inside for so long, you don't realize like what that's going to end up doing to your body. If say you're stressing out about something, you're gonna notice like, oh, my back hurts or whatever the case may be. It's just you have to understand that your body connects in ways that you never realized. So let it out. If you're someone who doesn't feel comfortable talking to a therapist right now, write it down. Whatever you have to do to get it out of your mind, out of your body, it will
mhm.
help you feel so much better in the long run.
Yes, there's a study that I was reading about stress,
Hmm.
and we were looking at it. I think it was in a group, and we were just looking at how stress is one of the leading causes of chronic illnesses. And a lot of times people are just like, well, I'm just stressed out, but I need to just go get medicine, or I'm like, but it's also leading to other chronic illnesses as well. And a lot of times people don't think that it's stress, that it's in denial stage and they pre-contemplate going to get therapy and counseling when the whole time your body is telling you something. We're just not listening.
Yes. Hmm.
If we listen, then we'll be like, oh, okay. And so a lot of times we misdiagnose a lot of mental disorders because they're always overly contemplated, by other chronic illnesses, which they play hand in hand. But if we just learn how to listen to our body more and the concept of stress, these things could be, you know, avoided in a way. May not go away. Stress is not always a bad thing, but stress can lead to other chronic illnesses. And that's something that I'm seeing, on the other side of mental health.
Yeah, and like think of body, mind, and soul. It
All
it
connected.
connects.
It's intertwined. You can't
Yes.
do anything without your mental stability, people. I don't know how to preach that well enough, Um, it's hard. I see it every day. It's difficult to navigate if your mental stability is not, and there's no right or wrong. There's no perfect person, but the perfect person to me is someone who's taken more of a proactive approach to a lot of things.
Hmm. So, what role do you believe mental health professionals play in reducing stigma and increasing understanding around mental health issues?
Advocacy. I don't think that I can say that word enough when it comes to mental health professionals. Um, my goal as a mental health professional is always to create a safe space. I believe in safe spaces. I believe in creative spaces. I believe in whatever space you need. How can we get there? How can we adapt to it? But advocacy is like the piece of work that I absolutely love. Educating people, educating for mental health. And even I had a conversation with state of Alabama. I was just saying, I want to go to the board of Alabama, mental health in Alabama and just say, hey, we need more. We need more. How do we get there? Um,
Hmm.
because we see the deficit, the numbers are there, the diagnoses are here. It's just how do we get our hands on it? And that's just part of advocacy work. How do we get there? Mhm.
Complete. Like, even like if you have someone in your family that needs help, advocate for them. Like, when
Absolutely.
people know that they have a support system that believes in them and isn't trying to make them feel bad, like at the end of the day, that person has to want to make that change for themselves. But
Absolutely.
meet them where they're at and just sit and listen. Don't be judgmental. Just listen to them because sometimes all somebody wants is just someone to listen to them.
Absolutely. And I believe there's healing in a conversation. So I what you just said is absolutely necessary. Just listen, and by me listening, I can help you with resources if I know, and I can help you maneuver. It's not my responsibility for your mental health, but how can I be an advocate for you if you can't do it yourself? And I hear a lot of times people say, well, I'm hurting too. I get it. We're all in a way hurting.
Yeah.
That's what hurt people hurt people. I truly believe, that saying. I don't even know where it came from, but I believe that that is a concept that we face. Hurt people do hurt people, but why can't heal people heal people?
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Why can't we flip why can't we flip the narrative? And healing is an own journey. It's an ongoing thing. But why can't heal people also heal people too? And
Mhm.
healing may not, maybe one part, it may not be your holistic body, but it may be that part of your mental that can reach out and say, you know what, let me advocate for you. Let's just partner together in a non-judgmental way, like you said, and let's heal together. Let's do it together. I'm not taking on responsibility for your healing and mental health. That's your role. But what I am saying, here's my hand, and I see your hand extended. So let's lock in and let's heal together in a way. So
I get, yes, like heal. Why can't we all heal each other? Because you never, like, I have a story that can help someone else, and then they might have a story that can help someone else, but we have to be healed to even be able to get to that point. Because for me personally, I don't put myself around people that are always like talking negative, this and that, because you don't realize how that will spread onto you. But like if you're never speaking positive and or if you're not seeing the good in some situations, like my parents always taught me, sometimes you have to find the laughter in situations. Like sometimes if I'm stressed out, I'll just find the laughter and it helps me feel better. Like if it's something I can't control, I just can't control it. So why should I be stressing out about it?
right. And I put myself in those uncomfortable places. I know a lot of people they avoid those spaces, but
Hmm.
I like to challenge those spaces because if we can gossip and we can do all these extra, negative things, we can also heal at the same time. So someone has to step in and say, hey, I heard you guys, but I just know that's part of your personality. But on the flip side of it, let's heal.
Hmm.
What's going on here? And there's not enough, leaders like that. You don't have to even be therapists, but just, the more so the leader mentality of like, let's change that narrative. Let's change this presence in this space that we're in. How can we change that narrative? Or what are we gonna do? Because we can't sit here for the rest of our life. And that's kind of where I draw the line. I'm like, hey, there's help available, if you want it, because they're clearly hurting. right? They're hurting. Something inside them is just saying, "Hey, this is a cry for help." But hurt people will hurt people, but heal people can heal people too.
That's true. So, how do you personally maintain your own mental and emotional well-being, especially given the demanding nature of your work?
Demanding is probably the word that, but in a sense, going back to what I was saying, it's my responsibility to maintain a very peaceful mental health. So what I do is I absolutely love, and this is just me, but on any given moment, I could go and look at houses. I can go and look at cars. I love cars. Um, I have this 10-minute rule that I do in the morning times. I speak positivity for 10 minutes. And it sounds very strange, but I have affirmations, just like I give clients, it has to start with me in order for me to even, birth something new in them. So I have this 10-minute rule where I'll get up, I set the timer. I physically set my phone timer for 10 minutes straight, and I start repeating affirmations. And in fact, a lot of people laugh at me when they come to my house because I have these white sticky note, the big ones that you put on the wall, full of affirmations, because I need to know, what am I speaking over myself? Am I commanding my day when I wake up? And that's how I stay mentally sane, because I know that I have a population of people who are waiting for me to show up as well. And so it's very imperative that when I show up for them, I'm also showing up for myself. And mental health can't move forward unless we're showing up for ourselves. And oftentimes, clinicians, we put ourselves on the back burner. For others, that has never been my philosophy. I truly believe in showing up for myself first so I can also help the ones that are needing me the most. So, affirmations, I love houses, I love cars. Journaling is awesome. I love podcasts too. But that 10-minute, man, that build me up so well. And even sometimes it may not look like it, but I do like to work out. I do like to work out. That's an outlet all in itself. And I think that we had spoke about that last interview.
Yeah,
How does working out affect the mental health? Well, it does tremendously. So really the cheat sheet.
it is.
But and getting a therapist, of course, but you know, everything goes hand in hand. But I try to find those things that I love doing. I love cleaning as well. And spend time with my kid. She always speak life back into me. So she can kind of tell, Dad, you had a hard day, didn't you? Girl, how did you know? She can feel it. And the weight of a clinician, I always say it's a ministry, because it is. And you could be pulled left and right. And like you said, it's super demanding because you have to put yourself at a place for others. And that's very stressful.
Yeah, I can say for me, I listen to music heavy. I go run. I working out, just being even after work some days. I'll come home, music will start playing, and I won't say anything for an hour. Oh, I just need that de-stress moment. I need to ride, so to speak. And even when I go on run, sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna go on a 3 mile run. That 3 mile run might turn into 6 miles. It's just it depends on what's going on, how I need to clear my mind. And for me, I those runs are the time that I spend with God. I envision my future and just how can I get to where I want to be. And after those runs, like the clarity hits my mind like no other. So
For clarity. That's beautiful. I love that. If I had that tenacity to run, man, I'd probably be running. I'd be so fit. But I applaud that. I love that for you. I'm gonna take your leadership on that and just say I need to go and start running. But you have to maintain yourself, and mental
mhm,
starts. I don't see how anything else is birthed after that, really nurturing your mental health and creating safe spaces everywhere you go.
that's true. So what are you most passionate about when it comes to supporting individuals on their mental health journeys?
Look for thunderstorms with a high of okay. So 74 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm very passionate in the realm of trauma. Um, really love working in the realm of trauma. It's very demanding. I love that you said that word because I say it all the time. It's very demanding, but it's so powerful. as well. There's a lot of modalities that we use when we're approaching trauma. It's a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. I dive into LGBTQ plus, realm as well. So that population absolutely very free in that area. And just trauma based really. And of course, I would be so appalled if I didn't say it, but the world of foster care. I never knew that I would be in the realm of foster care. In fact, when I was applying for my job, I thought I was just going to be a normal counselor. Had no idea it was in the world of foster care, but that drastically shifted my perspective on mental health. I didn't even know at the time that specialized population was so specialized,
Mhm.
and it's like, wow, this is a different world, truly a different world. But you see all of that encompassed in foster care. You see all these things, and I truly am passionate about advocacy, psychoeducation. I'm very strength based, so I love to view a strength, pull out a strength of yours, and water it because that. Why would I break something that's working for you? You just never had anyone to pull out of you, and that's something I love doing. Cognitive based, of course, DBT, and gosh, I'm very eclectic. I could probably name every modality, but my passion for sure is trauma.
So before I let you go, what are some practical steps individuals can take in their daily lives to prioritize their mental well-being?
Oh, I've said it so many times, but cultivating a safe space. What does it feel like to be at peace? What does it feel like to be yourself? um, so getting up in the morning, commanding your day, I think that's one of the biggest things because we have that control, we have that power to me to really foreshadow what do we want the day to look like,
Mhm.
and unlearning unhealthy behaviors. Like having that one-on-one talk with yourself, hey, this is very unhealthy. Let me learn a new way. And a lot of times people just are used to getting up and going about their daily routines. But it's so important to really sit with yourself and say, hey, is this healthy? Am I waking up in a timely manner? Can I wake up earlier and start my day? Can I incorporate a new wake up schedule? And I've really invested, in waking up earlier because that gives me more time to focus on myself whenever the real world hits. Um, that's my time. Waking up at 5 a.m. sounds very strange, but waking up that early, your day is up to you. And when it's time to go to work, you can go to work, but you've already invested time in for yourself, and that's putting yourself first. And that's just creating a space that I enjoy because that's important. And a lot of times, just waking up a couple hours early, that's the trick. I don't know.
Mhm.
I always often hear about millionaires waking up early, and I see why. I see why. It's very rebuilding. Um, to do that. So that's something that I would recommend, something I would love to see others incorporate in their daily life because it's life changing.
I can definitely say like days I wake up like an hour, well, like 2 hours before I have to go to work. I'm it's a struggle getting out the bed,
Oh, it's a
but
struggle.
I notice I'm in a much better mood. I've gotten so much done that, oh wow, or even the peace and quiet when everybody is still asleep and you can see the sunrise. It's one of those things where you have to try it to truly understand what it is and how it hits different. And I'm trying to become a 5 a.m. person so hard, but it's one of those things where like routine and just start doing it. And I know that for me, it brings peace and I want that peace in the morning time. Like even before I
Perfect.
go to work, I need to be at work like 15 minutes before so I can ride my car a few, just have that me time. So I get
That
that
makes
completely.
that is something that I found to be so enriching because, like you said, to see certain things and the sun come up, and you're like, "Whoa,
Hmm.
oh, this is new." Now, when I started, I could not get up. I my body was like, "Bro, please," but it came more so of a disciplinary action and I knew I needed it. And by doing so, my life altered, and it was for the better. And so you have that time up getting your life and your mental together because that's what it takes to navigate the daily,
Hmm.
stress that we have. And you may be groggy at first, but trust me, your body will adjust and it'll thank you later.
Yeah. And like, if I can wake up at 3 a.m. to be at the airport, why can't I do that for myself?
There we go. There we go. That same excitement and adrenaline and those endorphins and all those. Why can't we process that the same with waking up
Hmm.
and giving ourselves that time to be with ourselves?
That's true.
That's true. But
Well, I
there's
just want to,
oh sorry, but
no, you can go.
there's nothing like a good, oh, I'm going to the airport. Like this is my time. I love to travel. So
I love to travel too.
but we
It's
must
something about it.
come about it, but we must consider the same for our mental health.
Hmm. I just want to say thank you again for coming back, and but this time coming in the month of May, where we got to dive deeper into more of like mental health awareness, breaking that stigma even more, and just pushing the importance of it. It's a topic that I will even fight for, as although I'm not qualified, it's just something that I truly believe in. So,
It takes you. It doesn't even take a degree to push mental health. It just takes someone who's willing. So I thank you for your space that you're creating for wellness, but also incorporating the mental capacity of it. And that's truly needed. We need people like you. So thank you so much for creating this platform and much success to Wellness Warrior.
thank you. Well, thank you everyone for watching this segment of Health Huddle, where we dive deeper into mental health awareness. Just take something from this episode and just understand that mental health is real. And if you need help, seek help, whether that's journaling, talking to someone you trust, or even finding a therapist. There's
Yes.
nothing to be ashamed about at all.
No stigma, stigma free, stigma free, and we'll go from there.
That's